Hello everyone, welcome to episode 1 of Just Ask Jameson, where I'll be answering your questions from the group. This is strictly for the Academy members. It will only be posted in this group. So these questions are an opportunity for you to ask me whatever you like each week, and I'll just post them in the units. You can go back to them. I'll leave the timestamps so you can see what questions are being answered. And if you want to find a particular question, you can know what time to start the video to see what you want to see. Or you can just watch all the questions and get some insights. And please put some information down in the comments and actually share if you have different ideas or you have reinforcing opinions, or if there's just certain things you want to ask and continue the conversation with. So to start off this session, I'm going to go with question 1 from Unit 1. And that would be from Dr. Farhan, which is, if I could pick one food to fight inflammation and improve my gut health, which means getting rid of bloating, what would this food be and why? The first thing, before introducing any certain food, would be trying to figure out the source of particular bloating. It would most likely be something like irritable bowel syndrome or SIBO, which is small intestine bacterial overgrowth. Getting tested in those would be a great place to start, but if you aren't able to do that, or you don't have as much bloating, you just have gut discomfort and you're still trying to figure out where to start, I would say the best food you could use would be bone broth. And don't obsess too much about if it's powder, or if it's frozen, or if it's liquid, or if it's room temperature or shelf-stable. It doesn't really matter. The important part is that you get the bone broth that is grass-fed, if it's a beef bone, or organic if it's a chicken bone. Now, ideally, your bone broth would be very gelatinous. You'd have a lot of thick bone broth, which is hard to find and usually requires you making your own bone broth, which is a pretty big investment of time in finding high-quality bones. There's a lot of companies that are creating bone broth in powder form or in form for you to take them in a room temperature way where you can just heat it up and have it at your convenience. A lot of these brands also add apple cider vinegar, which is a little bonus food in there, great for your gut. So apple cider vinegar is something that people can use to help heal the inside of their gut, but bone broth is actually even more powerful due to all the added benefits of bone broth. Now, when you have bone broth, you're getting things like glycine, you're getting amino acids, you're getting glutamine, you're getting a lot of regenerative storage potential in the gut. I would definitely recommend taking bone broth and making sure it's high quality and making sure you're getting, because it has vitamin A, it has vitamin K, it has zinc, it has a lot of things that are helping your gut and your gut lining and your mucous membrane. So bone broth is a great one to make sure your gut is able to digest all that food and that the membrane is strong so that things aren't leaking in from your gut. Making sure that you're eating good foods, making sure that you're eating foods that aren't upsetting your gut and making your gut imbalanced, which is different foods for different people. I can go into that in another question. So next question is how do you know if you've reached optimal gut health? Fun question. Look after you go. When you go to the bathroom, take a look and see what's inside. Don't look too long, but make sure that you can kind of have an idea. If you know it's very runny, very liquidy, or if it's a certain color that doesn't look right, that's a good sign that something is unbalanced within your digestive tract. So make sure that you understand what's happening in the gut by looking at the butt. It's catchy. But don't think of it as, I have an issue if my bowel movements are weird. Think of it as making sure you have consistent, solid bowel movements, and then if something comes off or if something doesn't look right, then you can start to ask questions. Because when you have certain bowel movements that aren't very good, you'll start to realize that maybe you ate something wrong. Maybe a food you had wasn't working. It doesn't always mean that your gut is out of whack. It just means like something you had disagreed with you. So be aware of that and be conscious of what you've been eating to make sure you know what is going on in your body. And then the second thing with making sure your gut is healthy would be taking a look at how consistently you go to the bathroom. Are you going every day? Are you going multiple times a day? Are you going every 5 days, every 6 days, every 7 days, every 3 days? Basically, keep track of how often you're going in a way where you just notice that you maybe missed a few days. Figure out why you missed a few days. That would be a good sign. If you don't go to the bathroom for a couple of days, it means something's not really smoothly running through there. You might not be drinking enough water. There's a lot of things that could go through. But also take a look at what's causing you to go to the bathroom. Do you have issues? Do you have to drink a coffee in the morning to go to the bathroom? Do you have to have something hot to help you go to the bathroom? Make sure you're aware of those things, and that'll be a good telltale sign. If you're consistently using the bathroom and you're having solid bowel movements, you're probably in pretty good shape. And also look at your gut. If your gut is wide and big, it's probably something that could have underlying factors of what's going on internally. So change your diet, add some exercise, and make sure you go on that method and figure out how to improve that. And then the last question of this one would be, what is that one thing, if done consistently with Aphro-D, will get testosterone level doubled and quickly? Diet or exercise? And how to do it step by step with timelines per day. Now, there's two questions in this a little bit because it mentions diet and exercise. So for exercise, my first take on what I would do in order to increase T levels while taking Aphro-D would be deadlifts and squats. And form first. Always focus on form. It doesn't matter how much you're lifting. It doesn't matter that you're doing it all these days or these special tools or whatever you're using if you don't have your form down. Sumer is a great source to have really good form. He owns Train Life Fit. He's a great resource to see how to make sure you're doing a proper deadlift. I would say deadlift about 4 times a week, deadlift, squat, one or the other. And it doesn't have to be the same thing over and over again. It could be simple movements. It could be body weight movements, stretching your body out, just getting this part of your body attacked. So when you're actually lifting in that position, you should be feeling your glutes and your quads and your hammies, but you shouldn't be feeling things in your back. You don't want to be pushing your back too much, but if you really work the legs really well, it's such a big muscle in your body, it'll help boost T production when you're using these muscles. So don't try and do it to lift heavy weights, although if you can, if you have the form, that's awesome. Definitely keep doing that, but also make sure you're aware that you don't have to do that. Just starting, just doing the right movements, just getting the actual form down is super beneficial for your T levels. And then on a food level, there's actually a couple things that you can do, but one of the things that I like to focus on is cutting out polyunsaturated fatty acids, or PUFAs. Now, PUFAs kind of wreak havoc on your cells. And when you have PUFAs in your body, which is from soybean oil, refined oils, highly unstable oils, vegetable oils, fried foods, too much nuts, too much nut butters, too much peanut butter, too much omega-3 supplements. There's a lot of things that actually can be detrimental in long term. And that is something that in my journey, cutting out too many of these PUFAs really helped get my body back in balance. And once your body's in balance, testosterone has a lot to do with other hormones. And when you're actually able to align all those hormones, you can then be able to focus on the things that matter, like testosterone levels. Your body will be able to focus on that because it won't be focusing on putting on all these fires at the cellular level from you eating a lot of highly unstable fatty acids. I would say stick to saturated fat more often than not, and making sure that you don't cook things that are too unstable, like vegetable oils. I would get rid of them, I would throw them out. And I would seed oils, I would stick to coconut oils, avocado oils, animal fats, lard, tallow, and of course butter, grass-fed butter. Ghee is a great option if you have sensitivities to dairy, but definitely make sure those PUFAs get cut out. So that is unit 1 of the questions. Please post in the comments if you have additions. I'm going to put timelines on each of the questions so you know where the question starts, but this will be a weekly occurrence. So thank you for joining me, and I'm looking forward to unit 2.